Hello and good morning, Gamer Nation. Welcome to 2021's first epic episode of Breakfast with Boom. I am your host, Mr. Boomstick XL, and I have assembled literally a team of, I would even consider them Avengers. About when you talk about community members that are relevant, community members that are friendly, community members that are true gamers, and that's what we have today on top of an outstanding and ultra packed topic list that's going to fill your 2 hours this lovely Friday morning. I don't know where you are in the country, but here it's just above 30 degrees, the kind of weather that I like. Unfortunately, we don't have snow in New York yet. Hopefully we can get that to change because I like the snow. King says no dice. Well, let's get into the introductions, and we are going to start with said gentleman, King David from the Iron Lords podcast. Welcome to the program. Happy holidays and happy new year.
Happy holidays, guys. Happy new year. Boom. Oh man, I can't wait to get into these topics. It's a new year. First show of the year. I got butterflies in my stomach.
You know, it's funny because when you don't do these shows for a while and you're anticipating jumping on the mic, I actually had the same feeling, believe it or not. This week has been a packed week. We had new episodes for Primetime Gaming on Monday. We had a new Xbox Factor podcast yesterday, and tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is our annual Game of the Year 2020, and that I do with my best friend, who is my brother, Neo Mental, and two of the friends that I grew up with working in Funkoland many years ago. We do this every year. We actually used to do it where we just got together, had dinner, went over someone's crib, played some games, and talked about our Game of the Year. And when I obviously got into podcasting, I decided to make it official. So we do it. There are no guests. It's just the four of us. It's not meant to drive views, if you will. It's meant to, just kind of hang out with my who I consider be brothers, and of course invite the community into the conversation. So we've been doing it. This is our third year doing it, and we cannot wait. So yeah, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be having the Game of the Year 2020. But let's continue with our stacked panel of guests. Next up, you know him as the mouth of the South of Canada. Please welcome the very talented and opinionated Noof Nookum.
Boom, boom, kaboom. Noof Nookum is back in the room. It is 2021. Hard to believe. It's been a whirlwind when it comes to this past year, and already a sort of tumultuous start to 2021 in a lot of ways. But we're not here to talk about the BS that happens in the world. We're here to talk about gaming, which cheers us all the frig up. And I am honored to be a part of this amazing panel this morning and your first Breakfast of Boom of 2021. So let's get right into it. It's going to be a good show. Well, hello, chat. We've missed you.
Well, it's great to have you a part of today's show, Noof. Thank you so much for being here, brother. And we look forward to potentially Arnold making an appearance later on in the program. But next up, you know him as someone who considers himself to be the Mass Effect gamer or favorite franchise of all time. I know him as a good friend. You might know him as our sarcastic Brit. Please welcome the elusive gamer, Jamie Moran.
Hey people, happy to be here, and even though I'm sick and in lockdown, I'm just excited to talk about some video games.
Well, I appreciate you being here, even though you're a bit under the weather. And yes, the UK is in a lockdown. We want everyone that is listening now, of course, if you are living in the UK, want you to please remain safe, take no chances. And if you're going to be stuck inside, the best thing to do, watch movies, hang out with your family, and of course, game on. Next up and last and no way least, he is someone that not only do I consider to be extended family from across the pond, but he is absolutely one of the community's finest and one of the biggest proponents for the indie scene. Please welcome the indie gamer.
Wow, as always, your kind words blow me away, Boom. Thank you so much for those such kind words, as always. It is always an honor to come on your show, as I said on Twitter. Whenever I get that message from you, it's always a pleasure to see it. And I always try and make my way to your show if I can, like we're doing now. But yeah, I am definitely blowing off some cobwebs today, as it's my first show of any kind in 2021. So it might be a little bit rough around the edges, but I'm definitely ready to chat some great games of you all. And what a panel of great peeps and awesome chat of people there already. Thank you so much for letting me come on again, Broom. It's going to be a blast.
Well, it's great to have you a part of today's program. And yeah, dude, listen, we're all podcast professionals, and at our core, we are gamers, and we're going to be talking about games. So let's get into topic number one. Now, Ryu Hayabusa is a name that is not only synonymous with gaming, that goes as far back as the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES for short. And when it released originally in 1988, it was released by then Tecmo, which of course is another company that reigned supreme during the 8-bit and 16-bit era. Now, obviously, this was done in, I guess you can say it was Tecmo's way of combating Shinobi, which was, of course, released in 1987 by Sega for the Sega Master System. Now, on March 4th of 2004, Team Ninja, one of the most revered developers for the OG Xbox, released the reimagined Ninja Gaiden both to critical and commercial success. Now, 1 year later, Ninja Gaiden Black was released with additional content and even harder level of difficulty. I would even dare say that games like the Souls series, Neo, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice all come from what was originally put on our screen. I don't know how many people beat Ninja Gaiden Black on the hardest level. Well, I did. It was one of my favorite OG Xbox games, still is to this day. Well, we are now here in 2021, and the rumors of the Ninja Gaiden revival, if you will, that I talked about over a year ago have now resurfaced with even more tenacity than ever before. Now, thanks to our friends over at the VGC, which stands for the Video Games Chronicles, they're reporting that Ninja Gaiden developer Team Ninja will announce multiple games this year. And according to the director and producer, and I hope I don't get this name wrong, it's Fumihiko Yasuda, told Japanese publications, more specifically the Japanese publication called 4Gamer, we are also preparing several new titles for Team Ninja to be released in 2021, so look forward to them. Now, by itself, it may not seem enough here to suggest that a new Ninja Gaiden is coming, but in an interview with the same director with IGN last year, who of course runs Team Ninja, he stated he wanted to make a new Ninja Gaiden game. As a matter of fact, and I'll read you his exact quote from that interview. It says, "The core members of the team that worked on Ninja Gaiden want to make a new game. We are aware that some fans want Ninja Gaiden more than not a Neo 2. Now we see a lot of Ninja games like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice as well, and we see a lot of good inspirations for those games. So we hope to deliver some good news one day." So there's no doubt that the spark back then was lit. Now, obviously, what we're talking about right now is not to be confused to the recently leaked Ninja Gaiden Trilogy that was briefly listed for release on the website called Game Source Entertainment. Now, this is a Hong Kong-based distributor. The collection will reportedly release this March in the next couple of months, and it's going to include Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. And that is a big deal. Those are some of my favorite games. If the Sigma thing is throwing you off, those were the PlayStation releases. So let's bring the panel into the conversation. And I'm going to start with King. Now, King, obviously, being a part of the Iron Lords, you have a ninja known as Cognito that is, like, he likes himself a shinobi, if you will. For you, what does Ryu Hayabusa mean? And more importantly, the rumors that are potentially suggesting that this new Ninja Gaiden could in fact be an Xbox exclusive, because Phil Spencer did over a dozen trips to Japan, and Ninja Gaiden, the original reincarnation of the character, started on the OG Xbox. Could we see that come into fruition in 2021?
I wouldn't put it past them. It seemed like when Ninja Gaiden came out, it was an Xbox exclusive, and it was like built like that for a long time until it made its way over to the PlayStation. I think it was a PlayStation 3 at that time.
Yep.
But it was the home was on the Xbox. That's when the Xbox was really cooking, baby. And that game was hard as hell. So you beat it on black, I would forget about it. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just playing it. Shout out to Bill Stillwell, the great Bill Stillwell. I was just playing it on Back-A-Pat, and that was one of the games that I showed on Back-A-Pat to show that how the resolution was better, how the frame rate was better, how the speed of loading was better. It was just a marvel to behold, and the game still has that tight feel.
Yep.
And the tight combos, like you're saying, the Souls games leaned heavy into that, and I can say they perfected it. But where Ninja Gaiden was at, it was like the enemies were more of a how can I explain it? They were more of an identity to the series, because when they added the extra characters to it, because you got a chance to play as the ninja girl.
Yes.
And when you fought the first dude and he had the nunchucks, I will never forget this. This guy gave me nightmares for months. He had the white suit on and the gold band, and every time I'm like, I'm losing all my lives with this one dude, until I got it down pat where you had to parry, you had to move, you had to know when to do your power blocks. That game taught me, because we used to play Mega Man and stuff like that. That was a different type of level of hard.
I agree.
It was timing and stuff like that. This was in a 3D space. This was probably one of the first hard games with good gameplay in a 3D space that forced you to play with parries and stuff. It was a really good game, and I really hope Microsoft, I really hope Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer has locked down this game to be at least a time exclusive on the Xbox, at least for a year, a year to 6 months, or have it launch in Game Pass and have everybody else pay for it. I think that'll be a good look. And as far as the other games coming, I heard about the collection, and I think that's a good thing. I won't be partaking in that at all. I want a new experience. But the other games, hopefully they do have a 2D game in the vein of the older games, like the first Ninja Gaiden. That would be so incredible if they can do like a 3D, 2D type of game, isometrically how it was, because it was in a weird position that you was able to see the world, and you was able to jump up and down into the foreground and swing on banisters and stuff like that. If they can do that, I'm all in. I will support 100%. But hopefully it's on Xbox first. I hope so. Game Pass, please. Let's go.
Here's the thing. I mean, one of the things that look, you have to look at the bigger picture here.
Right.
When you talk about the Japanese experience, which is what you would get in a Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, what you would get in a new Ninja Gaiden, right? That level of play is considered by many, including myself, is to be a Japanese-based experience. And yes, that genre may not be for everyone, but I think it's safe to say that an action title starring Ryu Hayabusa, again, a name synonymous with gaming, one that has been in the shadows for quite some time, could easily make a big splash. But why this is important, King, and why there's a potential to have it being exclusive is because of what is going on currently in that region of the world for Xbox. We know that Project X Cloud launched to great success in the East. We know that it is doing tremendously well both in Japan and in Korea. Now, Ninja Gaiden obviously would be focused for more the Japanese community because that is where it started. But with that said, it would make good financial sense for Phil Spencer and Team Green to have an exclusive like that in Xbox Game Pass and launch in Japan, because guess what? It is going to drive not only potentially console sales, but more importantly, and I think you can allude to this, the getting people to use their service. At the end of the day, regardless of how many consoles Sony sells, Microsoft is more concerned with how many subscriptions they sell, how many people, how many gamers are playing Ninja Gaiden, whatever, on the new Xbox, on Xbox Game Pass, and on, of course, Project X Cloud. Any thoughts you'd like to add to that strategy?
Well, that's why I mentioned Game Pass. That's why I didn't even mention consoles, because it seems like Sony's abandoning Japan anyway.
Yes.
At this point. And if they do that, that opens the door for profitability. But what you have to do, and listen, these consoles are huge. Well, one console is really huge. The other console is nice compact thing, and you can also have the S. But what they want you to do is drive engagement numbers. And if they're playing on their phone or they're playing on their tablet or they're playing, it's engagement.
Yes.
The whole mantra at Microsoft or at Xbox, Team Xbox, is the Game Pass mantra. That is the gateway. And they don't care how you interact with their ecosystem as long as you have that subscription. That subscription allows you to game any way you want to game. If you want to game on your phone, there's peripherals that can go to your phone that can turn it into a console. There's tablets, there's PCs, there's laptops. There's ways for you to engage. They know once you engage, then you can change the way you engage with the ecosystem. It's so versatile and so flexible that when they start launching these next televisions, I was watching the CES show. Trust me, I'm going to be watching it all day today. Day one is today. And they showed some televisions from Samsung. Those televisions will be launching in these regions with Game Pass. You have LG that will be launching with Game Pass.
Yes.
So all you have to do potentially is go pick up a controller. Buy a controller. Your controller is Bluetooth. Link it to your television. Boom. You are gaming. So now that changes the way the East interacts with the West.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
And I believe that is the strategy, that is the Trojan horse going in. Game Pass is the Trojan horse. That's why I said Ninja Gaiden needs to launch inside Game Pass to make it an attractive offer for the East. To make it attractive offer for other people that don't, that doesn't view Game Pass like that. They don't see a game for them. So let's say this Souls type of hard type of game launches in Game Pass, and then every place else you have to purchase the game. That is an attractive purchase. That is an attractive offer. And for the East, they can look to it and say, I remember Ninja Gaiden, and I can get it here for this price, and I can engage how I want to engage. I think that is a boon, and I think that is a plus, definitely.
Absolutely. Noof Nukem, let's bring you into the conversation, because if there's one thing that I know about Noof, he loves a game that is not only new, but one that uses fandom to push a new title coming back in an old way. And I think that's what you get when you talk about Ryu Hayabusa. It's what you talk about and get when you bring into the conversation Team Ninja. Now, granted, Team Ninja is not the same team, because obviously the original director, he is long gone. He has his own company right now that he is working with. We don't know what he's doing. We have heard that he's working with Microsoft on a potential Ninja Gaiden successor. But hearing that Team Ninja is potentially not only bringing out the trilogy in HD, which I will buy. I am a day one buyer for that. Hopefully there's a collector's edition that offers a statue of Ryu. But more importantly, when you talk about Microsoft's overall goals to have success in a region or regions that they have notoriously failed at, bringing back Ninja Gaiden to lead the charge is a smart move. What are your thoughts on the potential of Xbox, and more importantly, Phil Spencer putting out the hand and saying, let's get this deal done, because we want to bring this character back. We want him on Xbox. He originally started on the OG Xbox, and we want to bring him back. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, before I give you my thoughts, I didn't know if you just want to take a moment to catch up with your super chat.
You know what? Yes. Thank you so much. Let me do that real quick. First of all, Sin Vendetta, welcome back, dude. I mean, you've been 90Z, bro, and in police jargon, that is gone from the location. So it is great to see you in the chat. Certainly, the super chat is awesome, but to have you back in the chat is even better. He says this after dropping an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat. As similar as they are, there is a major difference between the combat styles of Ninja Gaiden and the Soul series. Yes, well, no one knows that better than Sin Vendetta. So, he says, and that is the stamina bar for sure. No doubt about that. But yeah, dude, first of all, welcome back. And yes, I listen. You're a Souls guy. There's no doubt you're going to enjoy Ninja Gaiden for sure. And maybe they'll make changes to make it more Souls-like. I hope not. But Bounty Boom, very generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $2 super chat. Says, good morning, Boom and panel. Well, good morning to you, brother. Thanks for being here. And we have Jerry Acosta dropping an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat. Jerry, thank you for being here. And of course, thank you for your generosity. He says, good morning, friends. Xbox looks to be in the best place to game anywhere, anytime with Game Pass. Also, Dino Crisis 1 and 2 remasters. My God, hopefully the gaming gods are listening to our cries of madness. Because yes, Dino Crisis 1 and 2 need a remake for sure, or a remaster. Make it happen. # by Capcom. I agree. I think, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would like to see that happen. And let's give our sheriff in the chat, keeping the gaming street safe. You know him as someone that walks quietly and carries a very large band stick. You know him as Lethal Papa. Lethal, Happy New Year, brother, and thanks for being here. And another shout out to a brother of mine, Dragon Heart Yobi. # peace, love, life, brother. Thank you for being here. And of course, hopefully you are well on your side of the country. And so let's go back to Noof Nukem. Noof, look, again, the one thing that you're seeing with Microsoft is their aggressive behavior. Now, this is a kind of a behavior that we see from Sony. And I love the fact that Microsoft understands that software sells hardware. I am glad that they understand that software drives engagement. Software drives people to your brand. And more importantly, what they're pushing is Game Pass. Now, I get it. It's not your thing, but it's still a part of the conversation. For you, how big of a deal would Ninja Gaiden coming back as even a potential exclusive, even if it's timed, for the Xbox platform?
It's huge. No matter how you look at it, it would be huge. At least it's huge for those of us who have sort of grown up through the generations, knowing Ryu Hayabusa and what Ninja Gaiden actually is. You know, going way back to the NES era and the arcade and stuff like that. I mean, obviously the games were very different, but I mean, if you had an NES back in the day, chances are you played at least one of the 3 Ninja Gaiden games that came out for it. You know, it was a very tight side-scrolling action game that obviously was known even in the 8-bit era for being punishingly difficult. You had to have the timing and the jumps down and different things like that. And it kind of followed suit well into the Xbox era. But I mean, Ninja Gaiden really stepped out of into its own, as King kind of mentioned. You know, when it went to it as a 3D action adventure game, where it was just amazing. I mean, we all know, like, you know, like what Rise Son of Rome did for the Xbox One, or Gears of War did for the 360. I mean, basically, Ninja Gaiden was kind of that for the Xbox. You know, it was that when you saw that game, you went, "Wow, this is why I bought an Xbox." You know, it was one of those games, and the fact that you can even play it today through back compat, and the game still holds up and looks relatively well by today's standard, is a testament to Team Ninja. I mean, how much they pushed the hardware at the time, and they also did it at a time when, you know, when a lot of companies did not have their software really figured out, because it was a big step getting into the 3D realm of finding the right camera angle and movements and level design, which, you know, obviously they started to pave the way for these games to come. Now, with me, I have a love-hate relationship with Ninja Gaiden, because I love the game, because I love the character, I love the enemies, I love like almost everything about it. But what I don't love is the same thing, of what reason I don't really like Dark Souls and all those games, is the crushing difficulty. I guess I don't have the same patience level I used to have as it did back in the day. And we already know I've destroyed one Xbox controller this year, and I'm proud of it. My Master Chief controller is in pieces and bits.
No, say it's not so.
It is so.
It's a good controller.
Yeah, it's destroyed, so I don't have that anymore. So I'm trying to refrain from destroying another one. You know what? Also, this is a great memory from the Xbox. Ninja Gaiden was a game that I was playing, and I was almost at the end when my original Xbox hard drive actually crapped the bed.
Oh my God! So
I lost everything. That was long before cloud saves. I was so angry. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I was like, "Wow, really? Come on!" But like, I mean, the game is amazing. If Phil can lock this down, even time exclusive, it would be huge. But again, the way I say huge really depends on how you look at it, right? Because to us, the people that are in this chat, we know what Ninja Gaiden is, we know what it stands for, we know how huge this game could potentially be. But for new age kids growing up, a lot of kids that are playing games today, like I said, this Fortnite generation, they don't know what Ninja Gaiden is. They're probably not very familiar with it at best. So like if you toss that name into the wind for them, they'd be like, "What? Who? What?" You know, and it's true. It's true. Yeah. I was talking to kids at my store the other day, and I was having a chat with, and this is how out of touch kids are with like games of the past. It's like I mentioned Gears of War because he said, "What's your favorite game?" It's Gears of War. Never heard of it.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
Like, you know Fortnite, you know Call of Duty, but you don't know Gears of War. I'm like, see, this is what I'm saying, and this is the generation that are coming up where they have no clue about retro consoles or they might
they're
know
PlayStation kids.
Yeah.
So if he was on an Xbox, he'd be like, "I definitely know that," but he won't know it on the PlayStation. Listen, the parent purchased the console for the year. Christmas, this is what you get. This is what you want for your birthday. And also remember, Fortnite over there wasn't behind a paywall. I think that was Microsoft's biggest problem. Fortnite was able to be over there. I think that pushed sales of that console.
Yeah, no doubt about it for sure. I mean, obviously, if you can play a game I mean, again, it's fun for me. It's okay fun. Not my favorite, but a lot of people enjoy Fortnite. And if you can put that on anything for free, even if you don't buy skins, you're still playing the game. People are they're gonna flock to that. But yeah, I mean, I see your point, Noob. But do you think that this is a deal that would have ramifications that are just not focused here in the EU and the US? That this kind of a deal would be something that we've seen Phil Spencer, because the one thing about Phil, and obviously both King and I hold him to tremendous regard. He just, you know, we don't know him. I think King met him a few times. I haven't had a chance to meet him yet, but he is a gamer at his heart. More importantly, he is a community-minded person, but he's also someone that thinks outside the box and is always like a chess player, 4 and 5 moves ahead. A Ninja Gaiden title would be a big deal for what they're trying to do in the East.
Well, no, you're absolutely right here because look, Microsoft is not stupid. They know they've got the golden goose or the golden egg, whatever you want to call it, with Game Pass. And I mean, they see their numbers exponentially climbing, which is why Game Pass continues to see success, why they're drawing new publishers and developers into that ecosystem. I mean, it sells itself. But the key is, like any good streaming service or sort of any service that is similar to Game Pass and Game Pass itself, is to have not only content that gets you in the door, but content that keeps you in the house. You know what I mean? So they're going to need lots of content over the course of the next few years. Obviously, the thing for Xbox when it comes to the East, when it comes to regions like Japan and China and all these places, is they know. We've said this many times. They know that it's a lost cause when it comes to selling consoles in those territories. As hard as they've tried, it's not happening. Well, we're seeing a little bit of a surge here. They're nowhere on Nintendo's level or even close to Sony when it comes to selling consoles. So what Microsoft plans to do is they don't want to let those dollars fall by the wayside. They know there's an opportunity to get lots of bucks. And guess how they're going to do it? They're obviously, without saying it, it's a big target on the cell phone community, the xCloud, right? Moving forward, it's tied in with Game Pass. And they need games that not only appeal to the Western culture, because, again, it's a funny thing with Ninja Gaiden because it came out of Japan, it was Team Ninja, but it had huge success over here. And it's a game that I think will have huge success in Japan as well in those particular regions. But they need content like that can sell well over there, that can bring the Xbox appeal to the East. So it's a huge thing for Phil Spencer and company to invest in those properties. I think that's why he continues to go back to Japan, because no matter if your console is selling, you still can't ignore there's money on the table, and they're going to try to get it as best they can through Game Pass. So some sort of exclusivity would be absolutely huge to even lock it down for a while. I think that's a big part of it. And obviously they've had a close relationship with Team Ninja right from the get-go, and even to this day with the former lead in Tomonobu Itagaki, they still have some ties there, and who knows what's up with that. But yeah, I definitely think they could use this title, have some sort of exclusivity, and it would be huge for Game Pass and its longevity and certainly getting success in the East. So that's what you need. Because obviously Sony is putting all their eggs in the Final Fantasy basket. We see this time and time again. They just locked down Final Fantasy 16 now for well over a year or something, or 2
It might be almost 2 years.
Which is absolutely nuts. I mean, 1 year is long, but 2 years is like, man,
it's ridiculous
about that shit by then. Yeah. So you know what? If Sony's playing hardball, Xbox got to play hardball too, and that's a fact of life. They might not that might not be the road they set out on, but they have to fight fire with fire, because if they don't snap this stuff up, Sony obviously will. Sony is counting on their console to sell, and they will do whatever it takes to make their console sell. Xbox is trying to sell their services, but we all know if you don't get enough consoles in the homes, you're having a lot less chance to sell services. And a lot of the people that are spending money on these services are people that are console based. They get the console, they buy the content, the DLCs, all the microtransactions, stuff like that are largely in the content ecosystem.
I will say this to counter that statement. In our time, all right, this is the 7 billion people. I'm gonna tell you the 7 billion people. All right, and out of that 7 billion people, you probably have 5 billion to 6 billion that has cell phones.
Yeah.
Making the contracts with these cell phone companies like Samsung to have the app on the phone is ginormous, right? Because as soon as you have your brand new phone and that app is there, and then you have the 1 free or the 2 free months of Game Pass with the cloud enabled, you are a customer. No purchasing a console.
Yeah.
You are purchasing your Android. and when I say Android, and it's funny that it's an Android because you become an Android. All right, you with your cell phone, you become an Android. You become the keeper of knowledge, the seer of all. You are branched out all across the world. You are a supercomputer within yourself.
Yeah.
And once you become addicted to this level of technology, it's hard to lose it, right?
Yeah.
So one thing you can bank on is once someone is addicted to the cell phone, they will re-up and purchase again. There is not a coincidence that they have that buy program. When you purchase an Xbox, you get the 2 years of Game Pass, and it has a 2-year cycle. It's pretty much the same cycle you have with your phone on your phone payment plan, right? So now you brought your new phone, you're linked in with Game Pass, and you say, man, what is this thing? I would like to see what this thing looks like on my TV. Is there any way I can share it to my TV? A lot of TVs, you can share it to your TV. You share it to your TV, and you're like, wow, it will look better, if it's native. That's your potential customer. What you want to do is drive engagement. See, the way we're looking at it in Nintendo and Sony's archaic views. Console sales doesn't dictate engagement level. And this is the reason why Microsoft was able to keep pace financially with Sony, having sold probably half or less than half of the consoles that they sold. So I truly, honestly believe the gateway is in the technology that we must own as far as televisions, computers, and cell phones, opposed to having dedicated consoles. That's just my point to it. Sorry.
No, that was a fantastic point. It's very, very valid, and again, that's where I was implying that xCloud is a huge part of Microsoft's success moving forward, especially in areas like I said, where trying to get the console into a home, it's just not a priority for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, everyone so far had great points, and obviously, this deal again, if the deal exists, because Ninja, look, I'll put it to this way, and I'm going to go to Jamie Moran next on this. Jamie, you have a long history with Xbox.
So, Boom, can I make one point?
What's that?
Can I make a point real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just want to show one real quick point that I meant to put out there, guys. Is my favorite ninja though is still Sega's Joe Musashi, and please bring back another great Shinobi game. Come on, people.
It's funny you should say that, because that is also a character that I think needs a revival in the best way possible. And obviously, if you look at when these Ninja Gaiden and Shinobi games coming out, it was the late 80s. That's when the ninja craze had hit the world. And 87 was the first Shinobi. 88 was Ninja Gaiden, and of course the rest is history on what came out afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, and I think Cognito would agree with you that Joe holds a higher candle for him than Ryu. But the elusive gamer, let's bring you into the conversation. But before I do, let me catch up with some of these super chats. First of all, Sin Vendetta once again shows his outrageous generosity with a $10 super chat and says this: haha, Boom, just so you know, and I knew this already, brother, I've been around the block and have beaten the OG Ninja Gaiden on the NES, all 3 new Ninja Gaidens on the Xbox. Love the series and will get the remaster. Yeah, and you know what, dude? I could see you playing it and enjoying it just as much. Our very good friend, the Board Game Renegade, drops an outstanding $3 super chat and says, "Here is some loot from some churros." Well, thanks so much for that, brother. Hopefully they were tasty. Appreciate it. DJ Birdo DOS drops a very generous $5 super chat. Welcome and happy new year, dude. He says, "Breakfast with Boom, the only way to start your Friday morning. Good morning to all. Ninja Gaiden, great memories on the OG Xbox." Indeed. And you know something? A lot of people, both King and Noof, had a great point and said something to the effect that a lot of these new school gamers, they don't know Ninja Gaiden, right? They don't know who Ryu Hayabusa is. So to add more flame to my soup that I'm currently boiling is the announced or accidentally on purpose, quote unquote, announced trilogy that's releasing in March. Now, how do you stoke the fires and get people, old school cats like us, excited for the brand, but more importantly, new school cats excited for the brand? well, you release an HD trilogy, or you release an HD remaster. Now, Jamie, your long history with Xbox is well documented, and along with your history, Ryu and Ninja Gaiden have a huge history. Can you see Phil making a deal to get Ninja Gaiden, whatever it's going to be called, and I think it's going to be a reboot of the original, done for Xbox because of their current and future plans?
Oh yeah, definitely, because like Microsoft have like so many games in development, first party, and then they have all the deals with outside developers. But like we don't really have and I'm using this term lightly, a Dark Souls style game. A
Right.
game that punishes you for you failing. Because when you fail in Dark Souls, it's your fault. If you fail in Ninja Gaiden, it's definitely your fault, and you can't really blame the game. And that's where I make the connection with those two franchises. So I think Microsoft needs something like that in Game Pass, because you can scroll Game Pass and there's a billion great games in there. There's RPGs, first-person shooters, third-person action adventures, puzzle games, but there isn't a Dark Souls style game, not really. And I think they could do something like this. And as Noof was reminding us all that the Fortnite generation does exist, unfortunately. That they do need to be reintroduced to the character, and you do that with with a remaster collection or a reboot. Introduce people to the character and the story, and I can see that happening because if you think about the past few years, like the Dark Souls genre, or I should say hard games that kick your ass, they've been coming back pretty strong. The Surge sold pretty well, and then it got a sequel, Lords of the Fallen, Code Vein. And this kind of falls in that same category. So I think it's very possible, because we need more games like that, and they're just getting more popular. Same with immersive sims; those have been getting more popular over the years. So I can see it happening. And the thing is, if you look at all the trips Phil Spencer's made to Japan, one of them bound to had to do something, just a nibble to do with Ninja Gaiden. And the thing is that people don't realize is that Microsoft wants this wide variety of genres in their Game Pass portfolio. And when it comes to like Game Pass in Japan and stuff, the thing is, more people have TVs than PlayStations.
Mm-hmm.
So like whenever someone says to me, "Oh, they need to put Game Pass in these X game on PlayStation," it's like, no, you just have to buy a television, and putting something like a Ninja Gaiden plastered on a Game Pass advert in Japan, and then have Game Pass fired up on like a TV via an app, and then just have your controller. That's just the perfect scenario. And that's what Microsoft wants. While nerds like me and you might buy the consoles, there's millions of people online that just want to play the game, and they can do that with the TV. And a Ninja Gaiden advert and a brand new shiny Ninja Gaiden would do really well, for like Japan for Game Pass. So I can see it happening. And the thing is, we haven't had a ton of new Japanese game announcements over the past year due to everything happening. So
yes,
we bound, like, other than the whole Final Fantasy stuff and Yakuza 7 getting announced last year, there hasn't been a lot. So I can see something like this happening, definitely, maybe even this year.
And something, it would really go in line with their overall plan. Again, folks, we know for a fact that Phil, since 2018, has gone over to the East over a dozen times. Now, it could be double that. I only know what was reported, so obviously he travels all the time. So he could have been over there 24 times in the last 2 or 3 years making these deals. And again, fortifying the plans for Xbox to be relevant, not just in the EU, not just in the US, and not other parts of where they, where they normally do well, like Mexico and Australia. They want to go into territories where they failed, and they want to listen. I'm not saying that that Microsoft is gonna sweep the land of Japan and Korea and start taking sales from Sony and Nintendo. They just want to be relevant, and I think with what they have planned with and the power of the Azure servers being used for xCloud, you're going to see more of these Japanese type games made for us, but more importantly, made for that region of the world that appreciates that kind of gaming development. And speaking of gaming development, let's get Indie Gamer in on this conversation. Now, Indie, obviously, you have seen many indie games make tremendous strides over the course of multiple consoles, but Ninja Gaiden is a franchise that not only deserves a proper return, I think now more than ever it would work great. What do you think? What are your thoughts on what people had to say on the panel? But more importantly, what are your thoughts on Ninja Gaiden actually being an Xbox exclusive, and would it be a good idea?
Excuse me. I can definitely see this one happening, actually, because if you think about it, Ninja Gaiden is a massive game, and so many people talk about Ninja Gaiden inspired, and when they're new games that come out inspired by Ninja Gaiden, all this sort of thing, you hear it all the time. Like games like The Messenger, which is an awesome ninja game, and there's an upcoming game, Cyber Shadow, which is coming to Game Pass at the end of January, which is very much Ninja Gaiden. I'm talking 2D old school Ninja Gaiden at the moment, but yeah, it's a big game that has influenced so many games. So it would be awesome to see a return of it. But I also think it could definitely happen because essentially, if you're looking at this Japanese market thing, Xbox getting involved in that a bit more, which they definitely are doing. A lot of people think automatically JRPGs when they sort of think of that, but this is kind of would maybe be a better option. Obviously JRPGs are great to bring those as well, but as with this, it's kind of it would maybe fit like the our audience, the European and the United States, Canada, all that audience would fit in better with the sort of 3D Ninja Gaiden game than some of the JRPGs. It's harder to sort of introduce to some people maybe who don't play so many JRPGs. I think it would work really well to bring it into Game Pass. I've really enjoyed the Ninja Gaiden games going back from the 2D, and also the Xbox original Ninja Gaiden was a lot of fun. It's a fast-paced kind of different sort of to, like you said, like Dark Souls, but I think it would work really well to bring it back in, and I could definitely see them doing it. It's the kind of game, like I say, it's Final Fantasy and all that is fantastic, but I think a Ninja Gaiden would be great, and I don't think it's that much of a problem if people don't know about it. Like, obviously there is always going to be the Fortnite generation and that stuff, but that's just always going to happen. And I think even if people don't necessarily know this type of game, it fits into a gap in the market which I feel like there is at the moment. I think it would be a great addition to the Xbox lineup. And I would certainly play it, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't care how they bring it back, but as long as they bring it back in a way, and like I said, obviously from an Xbox point of view, I think it would be good. And we're seeing, one of my biggest complaints that I talked about in several shows last year was Microsoft not pulling a Sony. And what I meant by that is, Sony has a real knack for going back into their back catalog and bringing games forward into the future. We've seen this countless times. One of the things that I still believe is missing, because they're not out now, is Microsoft doing the same thing, and they are, right? We know that Fable is coming, right? We know that Perfect Dark is coming. Ninja Gaiden would be a fantastic addition to that list. I'd of course like to see a revival of Banjo-Kazooie. I'm going to keep banging that drum. That is my type of game. I want that. I'd even say hire a team to redo Conquer. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about sales. You're going to get it in Game Pass. People are going to play that like crazy. So this is a character. This is a franchise that deserves a revival, and I'm hoping that we do get that much sooner than later. But I do want to move on to the next topic. Now, look, we're going to start with indie on this one because this particular topic specifically was written. This original piece was written because indie was going to be a part of today's program, and of course, I'm always extremely privileged to work with him, and I have him here today is a big deal for me. Now, this particular special topic is what we want to talk about for the next 15 20 minutes, and we're going to get to the big bomb one, which is Xbox in 2021. And this particular one is what are our top indie picks that we're looking forward to in 2021. Now, obviously, this is a much different conversation this year, last year, and even the year before. When you look back to something like during the Xbox 360 and PS3 era of gaming, though I would be remiss to say that it's because of Microsoft specifically and their Summer of Arcade that shined a very bright light on the indie scene that at that time was popular on the PC, but not really so much for the home console. Sure, were there smaller titles? Yes, but were they put in front of big audiences? No. Now Microsoft did that with Summer of Arcade. Now, some of these smaller titles that came out during the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, for instance, like Braid, Castle Crashers, Limbo, Bastion, Dust and Elysian's Tale, Geometry Wars, and so many more exploded on the scene, making room for the next generation of game makers. And they brought us titles that completely swept the nation. Games like Untitled Goose Game. Like, what? That is a big deal. Cuphead, Ori and the Blind Forest, and The Will of the Wisp. Celeste last year was nominated for Game of the Year. A Plague Tale, Inside, Hollow Knight, which has another one coming out that indie cannot wait to play. Dead Cells, and of course, 2020's most won awards for Game of the Year from IGN. Hades. I mean, listen, folks, there is a lot to get excited about if you are in the indie scene, but more importantly, they have risen to a level, in my opinion, that it really doesn't matter what A is next to them or whether they have an A or not. I mean, look at Fall Guys, for instance. That took over my life for months. And it's just a simple run to the end, don't fall off, and try and push someone in front of you off the edge kind of thing. And it's fun as F, right? So here's my question very simply to the panel. Of course, we're going to start with Indy, and I'll back end my picks after the panel goes. What are your picks or your top picks for the indie scene in 2021 there, Indy?
Wow, that is a tricky question, but an easy question at the same time. I've got so many, but I don't want to just reel off 100 different games. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's quite funny that you have added this topic at the moment because I'm actually trying to break down a list at the moment to put into a video. So it's quite handy that I already had my list kind of half done. But yeah, like I mean, on the Xbox side of things, they have got so many lined up, which are going straight into Game Pass. Just going into a bit of that before I say a few games. But yeah, the way Xbox has evolved what they do in on the indie scene is truly awesome, and you said it very well, my friend. Yeah, like they did encourage it back there at the 360 sort of era with game, like you say, like Braid, and now Braid's got its anniversary edition coming out in a few months, which is pretty cool. And also we've just had another Super Meat Boy, so it's coming round kind of thing from that time, which is nice. So yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of success been made from that time that sort of like snowballed on, which is really fantastic to see. But and now also with the initiative of ID Xbox, growing exponentially all the time. So many games going through that service. It's fantastic. We're getting amazing diversity in our games, which is awesome. And Game Pass adding into that mix as well. We're getting indie games day one from third party developers, again adding to the eclectic mix of games that we're getting to check out, which is so great, and people are checking them out who don't usually as well, which is so fantastic once again. But yeah, no, there's so many games I'm looking forward to. As you alluded to, I'm very much looking forward to Hollow Knight Silksong. It's not entirely clear if it's coming out in 2021. They are very tight-lipped about that, but they did release the first bit of news in ages through Edge magazine, actually, which is quite a left field sort of approach for them. They haven't released any. Yeah, it's quite interesting that they chose to do it that way. You can pick up the featured thing through a digital copy of Edge magazine, or you can check out someone's YouTube channel who's covered it, etc. But they didn't let out that much news. It was more sort of gameplay, so there was no release date revealed. But yeah, no, it's just good to get a little bit of news on Hollow Knight Silksong, and see some more of the characters that are going to be involved in the game, etc. But yeah, I just cannot wait for that game, because Hollow Knight the original is an absolute masterpiece. I've said it so many times, it's almost a meme now. But it's definitely the truth, because that game is so good. And if you do start it, persevere, because I know there's a guy in the chat right now who started it recently, a friend of mine, Misuko, and he started it, got a little bit worried about, I'm not sure if this is going to click with me, and I said persevere, and I just told him a few things are key fundamentals, and stick with it and you will fall in love with it, and he's starting to do so that is fantastic. But yeah, Hollow Knight is an amazing game, and I'm so glad they're making Silksong, because it just looks phenomenal. But yeah, if you like Metroidvanias, definitely try Hollow Knight out if you haven't already. It is in Game Pass still, so definitely jump on that before Silksong. That is my most anticipated indie game, and game in general. There are a ton. I'll run off a few more. Don't want to take up too much of everyone else's time, because I'd love to hear everyone else's as well. But we've got like the Ascent coming.
Dude, that looks so good.
It does look so good, and that seems like it could be on the run up to release potentially. I think this year, I think we may well get that. It does look so good. I love the world they've created. That is the biggest thing about it for me. It looks so awesome, this cyberpunk sort of world. It's being made by 11 people, which is phenomenal. I forget the name. Neon Giant is the developer.
Neon Giant, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're doing amazing things. They're ex AAA developers, I think, who have gone independent, which is cool. I love that story, because it's sort of like, we're claiming back our creative freedom, you know what I mean? And it's just awesome. And you can see where their skills are coming into it, because the game looks awesome, and it's got co-op play in there, which I love that as well. But yeah, looking forward to the Ascent. There's another game which I'll throw out there, which is probably something maybe no one's heard of, which is Anew the Distant Light. So ANEW the Distant Light. I definitely recommend looking up that game. It's another Metroidvania. I do love my Metroidvania games, and that one is really cool. It's like a sci-fi Metroidvania, like in the vein of like a Ori, sort of the way the game plays out, and also a Hollow Knight kind of feel, where you discover the world, and it's got different sections where you have to uncover. But yeah, I've played the demo of Anew the Distant Light. It's really, really good. It's being made by a team of 2, I believe it is. They're ex AAA developers, so I do really highly recommend checking that game out. Not many people know about that one, and they definitely deserve some love. Give them a follow on Twitter, and give them a wish list on Steam or your chosen platform. Definitely recommend that. But I can reel off a few. We've got Tunic coming. Absolutely,
yes.
Cannot wait for that game. There's a lot of people know about that, which is fantastic.
But if you didn't know, Tunic is being made by one guy. The guy's name is Andrew Shouldice.
Shouldice, yeah.
And he is making this game. And if you are an old school or an OG, like everybody on this panel that remembers Zelda on the NES, or even Super Zelda on the SNES, this is heavily inspired by it, and my God, it looks gorgeous.
It really does. He's doing an amazing job. He's actually added there was a recent interview, if you wanted to look it up, with IGN he done, which was the first sort of bit of info on Tunic in ages. He has added, I think, 2 people to his team, so he's able to sort of knuckle down, I think he sort of self-confessed he's a sort of overthinker, which I'm sure is a common thing in development, and he sort of thought I got to sort of allow myself to focus on other sections. So I think he's got like a level. So I don't want to say what it is, but he's got a couple other people on board now just to help him.
Push through and get it done.
Push through, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, still obviously a very small team. And yeah, that game does look phenomenal. I think a lot of people in the Xbox community know that about that one. It looks like it's going to be coming Game Pass day one. A lot of these will like 12 minutes again. That's going to be on the horizon soon, I'm sure. That one is coming from Annapurna, and they delayed that at the end of last year. They said it's entering the polishing stages, so potentially this year it looks like it's on the cards. They are doing like a voiceover and everything like that, so potentially it could be soon. Cannot wait for that game. The Last Night, it looks like it's still far away, but it's still in production at a phenomenal looking pixel art cyberpunk sort of visuals. You probably
The Last Night has me very excited. That's an Xbox exclusive.
Absolutely, yeah. It was 2017 at E3 that was revealed in a full trailer on their
stage. Yeah, that's
big stage, and it certainly lived up to the occasion. And but it's they've been knuckling down as they need to do. Hopefully, we'll be seeing it again soon. That's one of the games that have been a bit elusive. But yeah, Last Stop is another game from Annapurna. There's Annapurna games Annapurna are doing awesome things with like their story-based games. As always, they're an awesome story-based publisher. But Last Stop is a kind of like a interwoven story between three different completely separate stories that come together, and it's got sort of like supernatural elements to it and stuff, but it looks really cool. It's set in London, got a quirky personality to it. I really dig what it looks like. Last Stop is a great one to check out. There's so many more. I could go on forever here. I probably should stop, but I'll just say a few more. Sable, check that out. The Gunk is looking awesome. And I will just say the final one, I've spoke about it before on your show, but Song of Iron has to be said, as it is an awesome looking game from Escape, who is known as Joe Winter. Got a chance to chat with him and also played the early access demo of it, and that was fantastic. And definitely check out Song of Iron, and it's plays really well. He's moving into the final stages, looking to release window of middle of this year, which is so cool. He's gone full-time with it now. He's full-time independent developer, as he was doing it on the side until the end of last year. So now he's really knuckling down for those final stages. Final one I'll just throw out there, Circuit Superstars. If you love racing games, definitely look into that game. It's top-down racer, really cool game, really nicely done. I've got a little demo on my channel if you wanted to check out Circuit Superstars. It's a phenomenal looking game, kind of like it's like a really good physics to it, really good fundamentals, but it's kind of top down and almost like a Micro Machines style point of view. Cool. But it's so much better than that sounds, if you know what I mean.
No, we'll definitely check that out for sure, dude.
I'll leave it there. There's so many more I could reel off, but I will be making a video soon. So
no. We definitely appreciate the indie knowledge, King. Look, let's go to you, because obviously, you see, you like myself, we don't care about A's. we really don't. We play games because we are gamers. Now, when you look at the indie development community in 2021, there is a lot to look forward to. For instance, you have Returnal releasing this month from Housemarque. Yep. You also have Bright Memory Infinite coming from FYQD, the finished Bright Memory Infinite, the full game, The Ascent that, of course, Indy talked about from Neon Giant. My two particular picks are, of course, Tunic. That's what I'm excited for. But the other one,
I've been looking at Tunic for years.
Yeah, me too, dude. But the other one for the PlayStation 5 is Kenna, Bridge of Spirits.
Yes.
From Ember Labs. That looks, oh my God, incredible. But
it looks
of
phenomenal.
course, there's another one coming out on the 28th of this month called The Medium, which looks to be a AAA banger from an indie developer called Bloober Team. For you, what excites you the most about the indie scene in 2021? What are your picks?
Okay, well, first, let me say that my thoughts on indie games is a lot different than a lot of other people's. All right, because the way that I see these indie games years and years and years ahead of you guys, a lot of people. because we go to PAX. We go
Right.
to
PAX is great for the indie scene.
yes. We go to Play NYC. We go to all these shows all across America, and we get a chance to sample these games. We get to see these games grow into their fruition to launch. So a lot of times, I can get lost in time with the game, knowing the game, seeing the game, testing the game, and talking to the developer. So a lot of our stuff is on lordsofgaming.net, where I can see anywhere of like one year I did 75 videos. We did 75 videos. There's 75 different indie games that I felt that were relevant. All right. And a lot of these games are coming out now. Like what is that? Cyber Shadow is
Cyber
about
Shadow,
to be launched. Yeah, but I've been seeing Cyber Shadow for the last 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've talked to the developer every 5 years, waiting for it to come out. And like Swim Sanity, we've been seeing Swim Sanity since Swim Sanity only had one board. So these games, like what is it? It's a soccer game that we were playing. It's a Kung Fu Soccer. That game is coming. So there are different games now. What I'm going to address is I'm going to address how these indie games are able to have these visuals, have these this audio, have the level of polish that normally before we would associate indie games with trash and filler junkware, right? And people would definitely it really had to have that special je ne sais quoi to make you dig deep into the game. Now, because of Unreal, because of Unity, and these engines allow the developers to be a one-man team to bring that shout out to the developer at Bright Infinite, to bring these games to get acknowledgement. So all the games that was on Microsoft third-party show, I want every last one of those.
Yeah, that makes two of us. Absolutely.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
Every game Sony showed on their show, I would partake if it had a Game Pass situation. It doesn't. 2 days ago, I've purchased PlayStation Plus because they had a deal for 2 years. You pay $50. Normally, it's like $60 for 1 year.
Right.
It's now, I paid $58 and I got 2 years. Okay. So I said I can be into the ecosystem. But again, they don't have a Game Pass type situation. So when these games do come out, I get a chance to check games that I never even thought I would check. Like I just tried this Warhammer game that is like Diablo that's inside Game Pass yesterday. While everybody was getting ready for the raid, I said, let me check out this game that I see over here. And I'm like, wow, I'm blown away. So as far as the indie games go, I see these games at the show. I'm tone deaf now because I can get excited for a game and it doesn't come out for the next 4 years. I'm not going to hold excitement for 4 years. When it actually is released, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that game. I can play that game now from beginning to end, like The Messenger and games like that. So this year, I'm more excited at the games that they have announced that they said are coming out. Is all the games that was at the Microsoft Indie Show, and if those games rate high on a PlayStation, and that's a highly if, I will purchase that game. It's that one game with the little I definitely want to play Gunk.
The Gunk looks great, dude.
Looks
great. It looks really good.
Oh my
God. I when I saw it, I said the concept of it reminds me of what was that? Blinks Time Sweeper.
Yes.
And he had the vacuum and he was vacuuming up stuff. So I was like, I had so much fun with that. I want to take it to the next level, So I'm at the point right now where I'm just trying to get a hold of games that are coming out now that I can get excited for. And I have so many games that I do play that's inside Game Pass that I really don't pick my head up out of the sand. My head is stuck in the sand playing all these fantastic games. And I want everyone to just explore. Stop sticking to the same NBA 2K. Stop sticking to the same Call of Duty or the Fortnite. One day, just pick one day out of the week and pick a random game that you won't never normally pick up might be a puzzle game. I didn't want to play Among Us with Addict. I'm addicted to that game. Right? The game is fun as hell, and it was something that totally came out of the blue. And if you look at it, you're going to dismiss it. You're going to say, I don't care about that game. That game looks stupid. But give it a try. Break out of your norm, especially if you have something like Game Pass. It's like going to a buffet. I tell everybody all the time, maybe you never had popcorn chicken.
Yeah.
Try it. It's there. Try it. You might love it. You might find your greatest new game. So I know I sound like a Game Pass infomercial, but just definitely try. I'm trying, like Torchlight 3.
Yes, dude. Great game. That's in Game Pass. Yes.
It's coming now, or is it
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming this month. I've never been more excited for a game in all my life, because I saw when Major Nelson was like, well, this is what's coming next for this. And I said, yes, I Torchlight 3, come on, right?
Yeah.
So, but yes, this is it. So this is where I'm at with it. I go month to month to what's coming out in anticipation. The medium is definitely, the 28th is circled. It's circled.
I love it.
And I said this before. I said I didn't understand why the media moved off their day when Cyberpunk was coming out. They should have said, F you, I'm still coming out. We're a different game. And if they did keep their date, they would have won, because Cyberpunk came out to a wreck. And I honestly believe the medium is going to be a more polished, complete game. Now, I know at the end of the show, it might be something totally different. But I'm just saying, if you believe in your product, stick to your day. Don't move for no one. And you're a horror game. What the hell are you running from a RPG for? I wanted the game. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. You're getting it, and it's a big exclusive that's starting the year off for the Xbox. We're gonna get to them, what's coming out. That's one of the games. I mean, if you think about it, not only is it a big game for Xbox, the platform, it's technically the first true next-gen game in the medium that's going to be in Game Pass, and it is going to be a big deal. But you know what, Noof Nukem, before I get to you, brother, let me catch up on a few of these outstanding super chats. Sin Vendetta, once again, my goodness, dude, thank you for the generosity. He says the 3 indie games that he desperately wants to come out on Xbox in 2021 are Vigil, The Longest Night, which looks dope, Death's Gambit, and Tunic. Great picks. We also have another super chat that came in from Fastback OG from the NLG podcast. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, Happy New Year, Boom panel, and all in the chat. Who is the indie gamer and what is Hollow Knight? I know he's
my indie games podcast.
Yeah,
brother.
I know.
He's giving me shit.
He's just giving you shit. So he says, "What's up, Noof Nukem, Kaboom, Lord King, TLC in the bushes, and elusive." Yes, indeed it is. And our very generous friend Rain G4, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, all Microsoft has to do is make Marvel vs. Capcom 2 back compat in Game Pass. Oh, man. That's still one of my favorite fighters, man. Loved it. 3 was good.
Can't you just pop the disc in and play it?
I don't know. You might be able to. You might be able to, dude. I actually think you know what? I'll hit you. I'll look it up if someone doesn't see it in the chat, look it up and I'll drop you a DM. But Noof Nukem, let's bring you into the conversation. Look, the indie scene again is a much different conversation than it was maybe 5 years ago. You know, and you can go all the way back to the 2006 forward, when the Xbox 360 and the PS3 reigned supreme. Now, indie games aren't just the little brothers of the AAA bombs. These games are relevant. These games bring in a lot of money. And for you, it doesn't matter what console, what are you most looking forward to in 2021?
Sure. Well, I mean, if you go back to the Xbox 360 and the Summer of Arcade and all that stuff, one of the big limiting factors when the first indie games came out was Microsoft had mandated that they could only be a certain size. Back then, we didn't have as much hard drive space, and I think the majority of them, when it first launched, I think had to be under I think it was under 512 megabytes, which was basically the size of that little memory card that you could put into the Xbox. But generally back then you didn't have gigabyte indies or stuff like that. Now, and in today's games, indie games, we see a lot of them now. They're definitely like getting into the you're getting 5 gigs and 10 gigs and stuff like that, which would have been a full size game back in the day. So the term indie now is used very loosely because I guess it really depends on the way you look at the industry, and we also seeing the massive climb in quality of indies, right? Which is why when it comes to indies, I'm a little bit on the fence about them overall, and simply because while we are getting better indies perhaps than we've ever seen, and that's largely due to advances like technology, more talent, different things, and just passion projects that when you see, like I said, you got 1 or 2 guys, people like that are doing like this Tunic and stuff, and they're doing the audio themselves, doing the visuals themselves, and story stuff themselves. I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal, but it takes an massive amount of time, and plus it's a lot harder to bug test a game if you're pretty much playing it by yourself and stuff like that. But like I said, with the massive jump in quality, we've also seen the massive flood in bad indie games, where we're seeing the market flooded by them right now. The Nintendo Switch is a perfect indication, where every time I pop into the store, there's another 50 games that came out, and I'm like, who are these games, and how do you weed through all of the junk? Well, obviously, one great way is having a guy like Indie Gamer who spends a lot more time than the average person playing these games to kind of come out and say, this one might be worth your time and money. These ones, guys, maybe you should stay clear of unless they're like budget priced, or again, you have the chance to try them through Game Pass. And again, that's where Game Pass is absolutely marvelous, because if an indie game is in there, there's no harm, no foul. If you try it out and you don't like it, you're not stuck your 10 or 20 bucks or whatever. And that's the thing. The prices have climbed up exponentially. Like, the Summer Arcade, when you bought an arcade game back in the day, you rarely paid any more than, say, $10 Canadian. Now a lot of these games start at 10 or 20 bucks, and they move upwards. And I've always said my money is limited. I'm not a Game Pass guy. I don't buy many games, period, let alone all these indies. So what I do is, I buy what I like, and I've always said, and this has been my mantra, that if I'm buying 5 or 6 indie games at $10, $15, $20 a pop, well, that's $10, $15, or $20 that I'm not going to have now to spend on my Ghost of Tsushima or
I see your point.
Right? And the thing is, I'm in a different anomaly. I don't have, the biggest thing for me is not even about the finance, it's about the time. Because I can piling my hard drive up with every new game that comes out is fine and dandy. I could easily do that if I really wanted to, but I choose not to because I don't see the point. My backlog is already massive. I am well behind. I cannot find the time. Others Inc. in the chat, we had an argument the other day in my podcast. Others Inc. in the chats, and by the way, hello, Other Inc. Like, he loves Gears. He loves it to like the utmost degree, and he plays Horde crazy. He said he had, I think at the time, he's maybe I'm wrong, but I think he said something like 1,500 hours in Gears alone. I probably have 1,500 hours in all of my games during the Xbox One generation. This is the difference. So for me, having Game Pass, I've always said, me and Pop are going back and forth in the chat. What is the point of me buying Game Pass if 95% of the games that are there, as much as I want to play them, I can't find the time to play? That is my point. I get it if you have a family. I get it. I'm going off on another tangent. I get it if you have family. It saves you big money. I get it if you're one of those people that is about a lot of games. That works out really well for you because you try a lot of stuff maybe you wouldn't have bought. But for me, honestly, personally, it just doesn't make sense. It's another subscription fee on top of the other 500 subscription fees. I'm pretty much trying to say, you know what? I'm tired of subscriptions. Everybody's doing one. I'm getting sick of it. But anyway, it's just back to indies. There's a lot of great stuff. There's a lot of great stuff coming out this year.
Yeah, it's like therapy.
Two of my favorite indies in the last, 5 or 6 years or 10 years. I mean, I love Limbo. When Limbo came out, it was like nothing I've ever played. It was so cool. I really liked the aesthetic and the atmosphere. Little Nightmares, and I'm super excited for the sequel. By the way, Little Nightmares is free with Games with Gold this month. So if you guys have never tried it, I would definitely go and give it a go. It's very unique. I love the art style of what they're going for there with that game. Tunic obviously is another one. You said The Ascent is another fantastic game looking forward to. Echo Generation, which I think you can play a demo of that one right now. Looks really, really cool to me. It's kind of like, it looks like an adventure Lego style game. Like the artwork is really cool. I think Kina is still listed as a indie, but I'm not sure. He's coming out, and as a small team, but it looks
small,
amazing. It looks.
They've got experience of Pixar, like actual movies and stuff like that. So I feel that's why the quality of the actual cinematics in it are so polished. If you see what I mean.
I see that game, and I'm super excited for that. I can't wait for that to drop. And it does come out, I think, originally on the PS4 and PS5. So that is good. So there's so many. And there's also that one game that Microsoft's been showing off of their indie showcase for a couple of years now. You guys know one that kind of looks like a cyberpunk game, but it's a side scroller.
That's the last night, I think it's called.
Last night, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That one's been on my radar for a while. It looks just so unique and so cool, and that's what I like. Is I like games that sort of break a mold, but they still have that little bit of the indie feel, but yet they still kind of almost borderline the AAA stuff. You know what I mean? Because if there's one thing I've seen a massive flood is we've seen a resurgence in like the 16-bit style indie games out there, and some games work really well. Like I've heard nothing but praise about The Messenger, and I want to pick that one up. But at the same time, I see a lot that are just bad. There's just so many of them. It's like, how do you weed them out? And and I like the fact that indie games, when they do sometimes go back to the old school, they give you some new school. What I mean is they've tightened up the controls. They have the ability to replay. They have save features in between. Because if there's one thing, if you go back and play 16-bit games now, especially the original ones, and you go back and you play them, you start to realize, one, that damn, these games are hard as fuck. And two, back in the day, you didn't hardly have any save points. You had your 3 lives and your couple blocks, and you had to do the whole game with that, or you didn't do nothing. So yeah. But anyway, that's kind of the games I'm excited for this year. It is a great time to be a gamer, no matter if you're a AAA kind of guy or you love indies. There's something out there for everybody, and the indie scene has really exploded, and there's lots of good stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah, absolutely, and great stuff as always, Noob. Definitely appreciate that's the one thing we love about you. You're raw, you're honest, and you know what you are, who you are, and we love you for it. The Elusive Gamer. Let's close out this topic before we get to the big Xbox One. For you personally, with as well as the indie scene has done in the last few years, and what is projected for 2021, which is going to be a big year for gaming, but more importantly, the indie scene. What are your most anticipated games?
Well, I'll name a bunch very quickly. The Gunk, the Ascent, the Medium, the Last Night, Tunic, Cyber Shadow. What else? 12 Minutes. That's starring Daisy Ridley and dude from X-Men. Forgot his name.
Willem Dafoe, isn't it?
Willem Dafoe's in it as well. It looks really cool. There's one game in particular where not a lot of people are talking about it, but I'll just describe what it is and people will figure out why I like it. It's called Minimal Effect, and it's a parody of a sci-fi RPG. So
it does look really good, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so I was immediately drawn to it because it's Mass Effect, basically. I'm getting that day one. But yeah, there's so many indies coming out. Trying to think. There's a Super Meat Boy Forever's coming to Xbox later this year. I'm actually excited to play Among Us, which is coming to Xbox Game Pass.
It's already Game Pass too. It's already on Game Pass for PC. I brought it the day before it came out. Actually, the day I purchased it, it was released that day. I bought it on Steam the same day. I wanted to kill at it.
At least it's only $3.99 or something.
No, but I got the money back though. I'm
nice.
Shout out to Steam return policy.
Yeah, definitely. They are good on that.
Yeah, they're the best.
I think the last game I mentioned is Little Nightmares 2.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a good one, man. That's going to be really good.
That's soon as well, isn't it? In February. So nice.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, great picks, dude. I mean, obviously there is, again, the indie scene, not the same indie scene from many years ago, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy that they hold the same relevance as a game that's, again, the team could be one person, could be 6 people, or 20 people, but it's really great to see the growth of the industry when a team could be as small as 1. And that said game can hold the not only relevance, but the attention of the gamers like us but the gaming industry as a whole, as opposed to a game like the a $50 million game. And I think that is what makes gaming special. That is what makes the indie scene even more appealing, at least for me, and I think a lot of people in the chat and on this panel. But I do want to move on to one of the bigger topics of the day. And folks, listen, we're going to be talking Xbox. Now, if you're a fan, great. This is the topic for you. If you're not a fan, well, then you might want to tune out, because it is going to be heavily discussed on what is releasing in 2021 for Xbox. Look, the reality is this. COVID-19 came in like a storm and put everyone in a chokehold. Of course, most of the mediums like gaming, like film, like music, everything was put on hiatus. So a lot of these games that we're going to talk about that are coming out for Xbox, all of which are going to be in Xbox Game Pass, were delayed at some point or another. And I believe it's safe to assume, without trying to, stretch the truth here, that COVID was the culprit of it. It wasn't certainly the team's problems, but one of the biggest criticisms that come across the bow of Xbox gamers and its community has been the lack of exclusives, the lack of first-party exclusives. And I think that we're not going to see 12 Xbox first-party games release this year. No, but you're going to get at least a quarter of that. And when you take some of their biggest IPs, like Halo Infinite, that's right, the Halo Infinite is going to release at the end of the year. You have to start asking, well, what is going to bookend this year for Xbox? Well, starting with The Medium by Bloober Team on the 28th. And you may not be interested, because a guy like, for instance, Zemi Games, my co-host of the Xbox Factor podcast, he thinks that it has tremendous relevance, but he calls himself a coward and will not play it. So there you go. But when you talk about the bookends, The Medium on the 28th, Halo Infinite potentially on the 15th of November, what is going to be in the middle of this release list? Well, I had put together a list that we're going to get into, and then we're going to continue the conversation with the panel in the chat. And you have The Ascent, which we talked about, by Neon Giant. You have Scorn coming out by EBB Software. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Now, that's not confirmed, but they've been working on that game for a long time, so we could see a September or October release for that game by Ninja Theory. You have Stalker 2 coming by GSC Game World. Now, we are getting, and they haven't confirmed it officially, but we know it's coming, you're getting a new Forza Motorsport. Now, whether that's Motorsport by Turn 10 Studios or Horizon, which Jeff Grubb talked about at the end of the year, which we potentially could see first by Playground Studios, you're getting a new Forza. That is a big, big deal, and it is a big AAA game. 12 Minutes by Luis Antonio. That's an exclusive. That is a big game. You have Flight Simulator by Asobo, which is releasing this summer for the Xbox Series X and S. You have Second Extinction coming out, which is a Left 4 Dead type game with dinosaurs. Sign me the F up. That's a big deal. That's also a timed exclusive. Scarlet Nexus by Bandai Namco, timed exclusive, coming out this year. Here's another big bomb. Starfield by Bethesda. And yes, it's going to be exclusive on PC and Xbox. So if you have a PlayStation 5, you can go ahead and maybe play an old Bethesda game, but you're not going to play any of the new ones. I'm just giving you the heads up. Crossfire X by Remedy Entertainment. Now, that may not be on your list of to look forward games, but it should. It's redone. It's a brand new game that they're creating, and it's Remedy making a first-person shooter. Folks, I am excited simply because we know they can tell stories, and it's their first genre jump, if you will. Of course, you have potentially Everwild by Rare Studios releasing this year. I think that is on the horizon. You also have The Gunk, which we've been talking about, and Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis by Sega. Listen, whether every one of these games is in your wheelhouse, like me and King David, or 4 to 7 of these games are in your wheelhouse, like several people in the chat are saying, this is a bomb list. King, we got to go to you first because you are one of the biggest proponents for Phil, Dominus, Maximus, Aurelius Spencer. And listen, regardless of situation, the delay of these games has made 2021 could potentially be one of the biggest years as an Xbox gamers. What are your thoughts and how incredibly excited are you if this list stays true and releases in 2021?
I first want to preface it with this, right? I want to say that because of what is transpiring with us financially, globally.
Yes, great point.
It was a boon for us for stuff to get delayed. And I know people are going to have sour grapes, but I say this to say this. Sometimes when bad stuff happens, you have to find the silver lining in it, right? And I think the fact that they didn't have a Halo at launch and they didn't have certain things at launch forced them to go out and make a good deal with EA, and is forcing them to go make a great deal with Ubisoft. And force them to go to Disney and make sure you got Disney Plus for 3 months if you sign up for Game Pass and you're a new subscriber. These little things are allowing them to try different avenues to fill Game Pass up with games. And they are doing it in a way that is unprecedented. It is literally the best platforming service for games, in my opinion. And my opinion counts because it's my money. I say every last one of those games, like I told you, that is supposed to be slated for this year, I anticipate in a different magnitude. Halo is probably at the top of my list. Now, the Forza Motorsports game, that's not coming this year. It'd probably be more to Forza Horizon, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and that's for me. I prefer Horizon to Motorsport as well.
Oh, I love Motorsport first. The only reason why I like Motorsport more than I like Horizon is I believe that the Motorsports the Turn 10 team takes the hardware and maxes it out. They did it with the Xbox One X with Forza Motorsport 7.
Yep.
And I believe that this next Forza Motorsports will max out this Series X. I honestly believe that they're going to do things with that console that is unheard of. And I look to them to bring across, because we got 4K 60 with the X. And I believe that this Series X is going to do some stuff. You say the medium, you say Ascent. It's so many different games that's going to fill that need that we have for games and these exclusives that are launching in Game Pass. And it allows you to game at your leisure with no extra cost. I want y'all to really sit down and digest that part right now, because you're no longer saying to yourself, okay, I have $120 that gets me, now it's $140.
Yep.
That gets me 2 games, and I have to budget my 2 games out for the year, and I have to spread out my time and figure out where I'm going to spread my love. Yeah, okay. No longer is that the case. All right, now you're looking at, and this is how I gauge my games. I go to see Games of Gold, right? What's up for Games of Gold? I talk to my son back and forth. He's anticipating the medium. He said, Daddy, can I play it with you inside the room? I said, it's a scary game. And we'll see, because we saw the trailer with the little girl that said, I'm sadness.
Yes.
Boy, he was like, what? You should have saw his eyes like, what? Can I play that with you, Daddy, inside the room? Because he saw me playing Resident Evil, and he's like, only with you. So he's 9 years old. It's a fantastic thing, right? But then What is okay, Gunk, yes, all right. It's we don't know what ZeniMax is releasing. No idea. The ink isn't dry. They're not opening their lips. Sealed. Now, a lot of people are saying that Starfield is closer to releasing than what we think. Do we get that at the end of the year? Do we get that in the summertime?
Yeah.
Do we get a Wolfenstein in the? It's a lot of variables that we don't understand exactly what we get. But the anticipation level for anything right now on both sides of the fence, trust me, PlayStation guys, Nintendo guys, Xbox guys, we are dying in a thirst for games right now. So our thirst is quenched on the 28th with the medium. You guys are going to still continue to be hungry until March, but that's okay. It's okay though. It's okay to be all right. You can come over to Xbox, play the medium, have a good time with us, get scared out your boots, and anticipate the next launch. Because what is the next launch after the medium that should be launching in February? Because my wants and needs, it goes month to month. After I finish the medium, I don't know how long that is. It's probably what, 8 to 15 hours. And
yeah, I mean, if you look at the list, I mean, games like Crossfire X could be coming out in that time. You know, Scorn could be coming out at that time. The Ascent is a possibility, even though I think it's going to be later in the year. We know Flight Simulator is in the summer.
Right.
Chorus by Deep Silver is another one
that okay. Chorus is that's the game with the space
ship.
Game.
With the ship, yeah, with the ship
that was moving
alive, yeah.
Seconds with the particle effects, and he was going into that. That game has me stoked for space exploration.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but okay, so let's talk about the Scorn really quickly. I want to talk about the Scorn because I don't want to take away from anybody's time. The reason why I want to play the Scorn is because I was following it on Kickstarter.
Oh, right? Okay.
And I said, damn, that game looks really good. It's Geiger inspired. I love Geiger games type, just weird out there space stuff, just weirdos, alien stuff. I've been down with that since a kid. And I saw it, and then I saw him take the bullets out of his arm for the gun. Count me in. And then I saw the alien come around the corner, and he was like, and I said, and I saw the guy running, but you couldn't shoot him because you had to close the door on it. And I said, this is what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for Prometheus, actual interactive type of Prometheus experience. Mm-hmm. And this is going to feed that to me. And it disappeared off the radar. And then it went dark, and then I saw it at the indie, the third-party developer show, and I just lost my mind because I said it found its way back, and it must have been listening that I needed it on Xbox. It's coming Game Pass, and that's one of my highly anticipated games. If you love that bone flesh type of artsy visuals with a cerebral type of alien, unorthodox type of space game, please make it your business to check it out, see what it's about, because that game, when you look at my timeline, you're going to notice I'm going to probably finish that game with 100. I swear that game is what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, again, lot to get excited about, but you know what, Noof, let's bring you into the conversation. When you talk about Xbox Game Studios releases in the last generation, and of course I'm talking about the Xbox One generation, it is a highly debatable subject for many. Now, some like me and like yourself enjoyed a lot of the exclusive releases on the Xbox platform, while others, they didn't care or respect what Microsoft was doing to diversify their platform. Well, they're doubling down on diversifying their Xbox Game Pass lineup. And every one of these games, again, I say that, not every game is for every gamer. This list, I'm playing every one of these games. This list, King David is probably playing every one of these games. Though for you, What are your thoughts on what Microsoft potentially could bring to the table for Xbox gaming in 2021?
Man, I can sum up my excitement in 2 words and no more, no less. Halo Infinite.
Yep, there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
The return of Master Chief. That's all I need from Microsoft. I don't care one iota about anything else. I want that game. I just want it to be great. It needs to be all that and more. I'm excited for the return of Master Chief. I'm excited to jump back into epic multiplayer matches. I just want them to take their time, give it as much love and care as it needs based on those multiplayer pictures and stuff that we saw just a few weeks back in the latest reports. They're saying like the game is really taking a turn for the better in terms of its visual presentation. I'm just excited. I mean, like, King said, Scorn, obviously, yes. There's a lot of games. A lot of games coming out. The Medium looks absolutely phenomenal. The list goes on. We don't know when the Forza games are going to come out. Obviously, I'm super excited for Fable. I've got my doubts Fable hits this year, but you know what? Surprise me, please. They tell me it's coming out. I'm going to be like a kid at a Christmas shop, man. I'm just going to be silly and giddy. I'm looking forward to Fable. I'm looking forward, like I said, to the classics, man. The classics reborn, these things coming back. Microsoft's got a bright future ahead. There's no question, though, that they need to have a strong line. Like the wait has soon sort of got to stop. We got to start seeing the pipeline start to produce, right? I mean, they got to change that mantra that still lingers around the gaming industry. Got no games. I don't know what the fuck people are playing, but there's lots of games out there, man. Let me tell you that. So I'll let the guys jump in. I don't really have much like to say. Halo, like if nothing else existed this year and you told me I have only one game, that's Halo, I would still be excited because I have got a ton of backlogs to play. I just want that to be everything. I mean, I know Gears, another Gears is not coming for a little while. We just got that amazing morsel of the Hive Busters, and who knows, maybe they have another DLC like that dropping. At least Microsoft calls it DLC and doesn't disguise it into something else. But yeah, so that's what I'm excited for, man. No more, no less. Really, that's the big one for me.
Well, they call it DLC for 2 reasons. Because one, it's inside Game Pass. They don't have to lie. They don't have to sell you a damn thing. But if you're launching a console, you're not going to say, hey, it's DLC. First of all, they lied to you all the way up until the door came and told you it was just going to be on PlayStation 5 and it was going to utilize the PlayStation 5 in ways that the PlayStation 4 cannot do. I mean, I understand. I get upset with that whole thing because I think they should be honest with their people. But they've learned a lesson. They're being honest with Gears of a God of War, right? And I think they're going to call it DLC this time, Noof. I think we have pressured them. We have pushed them in the corner, and we are holding their feet to the fire. And I think they're going to say it's DLC this time.
Yeah, I think they have to. I think they're going to be held. I think they're being held accountable for the mismessaging.
It's so piss poor.
Yeah, yes.
It's sold 70% less than Spider-Man 2018.
Yep.
Yo, Mr. Boomstick, I'm here. You never called me.
Hey, you know what's funny? Well, first of all, welcome to the program. Like I said, I flew you in. Your check 50 cents is on the way. Don't worry about that. You know what? Unlike Noof, you appreciate value. And when you say value, you talk about Game Pass. Now, being that you haven't been called for Predator or you haven't been called for any of the big films coming out, you need to save a couple of bucks there, Arnold. So you appreciate Game Pass. For you, does Game Pass and Xbox in 2021 move the meter?
Absolutely, it's going to be a terrific year to be a gamer. There's so much out there to play. Noof, the guy, I don't understand him. He's so archaic. I swear to God, Noof Nukem right now, man, you could honestly be Joe Biden's running mate because you're so old. You're playing like a fossil. You act like a fossil. Man, my God, what is wrong with you, man? I'm going to come over there and smack you upside the head. But anyway, the game is great. Microsoft's got an amazing console. They've got amazing games coming out this year. Of course, we're looking forward to Halo. But I want to get in there, and play that Scorn game, because I want to grab these crazy-ass guns and want to shoot all these big, crazy aliens. I mean, we all know that, I've had the great history of fighting aliens and stuff like that with Alien and Predator and stuff like that. So it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to do it. There's a lot of great games, a lot of good shooters as well, and Microsoft's got everything. What Microsoft really got to do now is they got to bring back Conker and these games that we know and love. I mean, I really like Conker. You know, you got this little cute squirrel, and you're like, oh, you cute little squirrel, I love you. You're crazy. You're like Mario. And then all of a sudden he takes out a beer pitch and he's like, yeah, this stuff is yeah. You know, like how can you not like Conker? You know, he just kicks ass, he takes names and he does it, but he looks so damn cute doing it. You know, it's like a kitten that keeps staring down your Christmas tree. He's kind of the same kind of deal. To make sure, you know, you get this stuff out there and bring the great games. They're friggin' amazing. So much to look forward to, but look, guys, I want to just tell you, you can get me to do your voiceovers. Mortal Kombat screwed it up. They went and got some weirdo to do it. He did a terrible job, but yet they brought in Stallone to do it. What the hell was up with that? But I was here. I could have done it, but instead I was home playing with the donkeys. So get me next time. And all that stuff. And somebody needs to make like a Arnold Schwarzenegger game, like a Commando or a really cool Conan Barbarian, but with me in it. Okay, let's do it.
Well, thank you for always being here, brother. Definitely appreciate the banter as always. You know, let's bring Jamie Moran into the conversation. Jamie, look, when looking at 2021 for Xbox, you know, there are a couple of highlights. Now, Noof said, of course, Halo Infinite, and you know, and I say this all the time: Halo is Xbox, Xbox is Halo. But you know, removing that from the conversation just for a second, there are a lot of games to get really, really excited about. And you know, and here's the thing, what's interesting. See, these games we know about, but Phil Spencer said in an interview that he is, quote unquote, very excited for Xbox and its fans in 2021. Now, in an interview that I don't have in front of me that he talked about right after the July show, he said that there were a lot of games that we don't know about that could potentially be releasing in the next 12 to 24 months. And that is on top of what we know, which is crazy to think. Mm-hmm. For you, how exciting will 2021 be for Xbox and its platform?
I mean, the whole, you know, how we got Gears Hive Busters out of nowhere. Like that was an awesome surprise for me. And that was one of my favorite things of last year. It was a nice compact experience. I wasn't charged full price and they didn't call it a separate game. Just putting it out there. But I'm going to go on a tangent here. I can't stand the term standalone DLC because that's just a game. You're selling DLC is a higher cost just to get, more money. Anyway, we move. So I like the fact that there's just a variety of games coming. Like, there's, we've got the Halo Infinites. We've got, the thing is, Remedy's coming out with the first person shooter, and most people be like, oh, no,
yes.
First person shooter. But like, as much as I play open world RPGs, I absolutely love military first person shooter campaigns. Love them, absolutely love them. And we don't get enough, in my opinion, anymore. But that looks fantastic. And like Halo Infinite's going to be a big deal because the multiplayer is free to play, and it's going to have like probably the biggest player base Halo's ever had because it's free. And the thing is, you have to look at how Microsoft's like, we got Hive Busters out of nowhere, but in the past, we got the EA Access thing in Game Pass, and then looking back 5 years ago, we got backwards compatibility. I think it's just going to be like a combination of like just new stuff because Microsoft has a ton of studios making games, and some of those studios consist of multiple teams. And Obsidian are making like 6 games at the minute, so it's like who knows what's going to drop. I just like that Microsoft don't rely on one specific genre of games. They just want to have a variety, because there was a time where people referred to Microsoft as the shooter box, but if anything, it's RPG
the shooter bro box. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like now you look at all the studios they've got and all the games that's been announced, like it's clear that they have a variety of games, and I'm just excited for that. And the prospect that, like, look, we came out of a year with no E3 and we got new consoles, and people do say we need new content to see what these consoles could do, and I agree. And we have the Medium coming soon. Microsoft is probably going to continue to make deals, for games that's going to push hardware. Just a combination of stuff like that. And again, Microsoft came out, like I keep bringing up Hive Busters because that was such an un-Microsoft thing to do. You know, I should say
absolutely
old
out of character for sure.
Yeah, I think about it like this. We got this single player or co-op, standalone. I take that back. We got this expansion for Gears, and it was story related. There was no microtransactions. There was no, online live as a service features.
It was a nice 3 to 5 hour go by yourself or go with your friends kind of experience that told an incredible. But yes, by the way, which you didn't mention, which you might have been getting around to, it is the best looking Gears product in years. It even rivals 5. Like it really puts the Series X through its paces. If you haven't experienced it, you need to just stop and look at the foliage. Folks, listen, here's a little bit of a tidbit. The foliage in that game that everyone has been raving about is tech being used from Playground Games Fable. By the way, if you didn't know that.
Well, hopefully the foliage moves when the polygons touch it, because I was a little bit pissed off when I was in a little section in the greenhouse and I'm in there and I run into the bushes and the bushes ain't moving, but the bushes is there. So I said, because everybody's like, oh, the foliage. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to play in the bushes. And I ran in the bushes. It was just me in the bushes, but the bushes wasn't.
like that bite-sized chunk of Gears, like it's one of the best looking games I've ever played, and I keep bringing that up because again, it was out of nowhere, it was unexpected, and you could play it for free if you had Game Pass Ultimate, which was bloody fantastic. And I think we could see more stuff like that because Microsoft's clearly experimenting with Game Pass now to put expansions in Ultimate.
Yep.
And if I'm going to get more expansions via Game Pass Ultimate, hey, I'm all for it. And I think they will do that this year.
Well, they did that before with Destiny 2. Destiny 2 Beyond Light is free inside Game Pass.
Yeah, all of the DLC for that.
The DLC. You didn't need to purchase anything. All you just needed to do was just show up. I mean, if you have Game Pass, don't show up if you don't got it. You can't get in. But they did that there, and I think that was the test bed going forward. And I think the Gears is just opening the floodgates. So I think Destiny 2 actually showed that DLC would be free inside Game Pass, and the Gears just fortified and reasserted that whole mantra going forward, I believe.
Yeah, and I agree. Well, listen, again, everyone had tremendous points. Let's get Indy's final point of the topic. Indy, before I get to you, let me just catch up on some of these super chats. We have Artemis, who drops an outstanding, very generous $5 super chat. Says, everyone, what about 12 minutes? That one is one of the games I'm looking forward to. Yeah, indeed, dude. We definitely have that across. I think everyone has that on their list at some point. And again, maybe not for everyone, but that game is going to be at the end of the year in the Game of the Year conversation, and not just the indie section. I think that has massive voice talent, but I think the story that they're telling is so unique and so intriguing. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. We have Jury Acosta dropping an additional outstanding $5 super chat. Says, just downloaded Ori because of how much you guys praised it. And in the words of Boom, my God, LOL, amazing game so far. Stay safe, my friends. Well, thank you, dude. I'm glad you're enjoying it, because those two games are modern day masterpieces from a storytelling perspective and from a graphics perspective. It is literally, you are playing artwork. That is the best way to describe Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Ori, of course, the original, and the Blind Forest. We have Stephen Clark drops an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat and says, looking forward to playing the medium. And here's another one people need to put on their list. Stalker 2 is going to be and is a big deal. That game looks fantastic. So, Indy, let's get your opinion. Oh, one other one, Victor Alistine. Victor, welcome to the program. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, this is a good one. Would love to see the Coalition make, oh my God, yes, please, a 2-human reboot. Yes, times 10. Wow, 2-human. If you
they gotta finish the game. They didn't finish it. Remember?
You know what? That's okay. Scrap what they did and just redo it, because 2-human was
that game.
dope. My God, that game was so good. It may not hold up now, but wow, the premise of Valhalla and it was just so good, man. It was absolutely fantastic. But Indy, look, what's interesting, and I saved you for last specifically because of what I'm about to say. When you look at this list, what's interesting and what is impressive, besides the word diversity that we've used on this show today, what Microsoft has done with the Xbox platform, which is something that I love. In this list of monster titles like Halo Infinite, like Starfield, like Phantasy Star Online 2, you have smaller titles like Crossfire X, which no one knows what it's going to be, the Gunk, Scorn, The Ascent. It's going to be a monster year from indie to AAA. What are your thoughts on what Microsoft has done or what potentially will do in 2021?
Yeah, well, like you say, it's all about that diverse mix of games, which is fantastic. Whether you want to categorize your games or not, it's about the diversity and the amount of different experiences you can have, and it's all being presented to you on a delightful buffet, as our man King says, which is a great great analogy for it. All you've got to do is walk up and just take what you want. Yeah, I mean, we've spoken a lot about indies already, but just to say, like, another one which has been on the Idea Xbox presentation is The Artful Escape. That's coming too, so that's another one which potentially will go straight into Game Pass, and that's another one which has been announced that it could be coming in at the early stages of 2021. But yeah, like, there's so much to look forward to. Obviously, I do play a lot of indie games, so they are games I'm going to be talking about, but at the same time, I do love the bigger games too. Especially I love my Forza games, and I'm thinking that it's probably not that much of a out there statement, but I'm thinking we might potentially get a Forza Horizon game later this year in the sort of like end sort of period, maybe the September, October.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
Sort of stage. I've heard a few people saying that as well, so I can't claim it to be the first to say it, but I do definitely agree with that sentiment. It's a much more. It's they've already got the foundations down if they're like a well-oiled machine with that franchise. It's absolutely awesome what they churn out and able to do it so quickly and of the highest quality. And I could just imagine them getting that out ahead of time, especially when we saw the Motorsport being shown. That definitely seemed like it was a lot further away. Potentially 2022 in my opinion, or like maybe even 2023, but I'm thinking hopefully 2022 for Motorsport. It definitely seems like they're doing an overhaul of the whole of that franchise, coming back, fresh, switching up everything, making sure it's an impactful delivery of that game, which I'm hoping will be really cool. Hopefully it's got something like a story mode in there too on Motorsport, which I would really appreciate, because sometimes it's race after race. I think it would entice people in who are more inclined to enjoy the Horizon games. I think if they brought in a little bit of a story element into Motorsport games, it would bring people across who maybe don't check out the more hardcore sort of Motorsport franchise, which can be really good fun. The multiplayer is great on it. Hopefully they nail that this time. But yeah, I do like my Forza games. I love Horizon, and everyone's hoping it'll be Japan. Hopefully they'll be listening.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, Japan would be awesome. Something like that anyway. Hopefully they deliver on that. There's some great games coming. Like, going back to the indie stuff, you got, the Gunk is looking fantastic. And, we don't know a lot about it at the moment, but it is coming from Image and Form Games, who made the SteamWorld games, which is great, pedigree.
Those are great games.
They are amazing games.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so they have got good backing behind them. So I think it could be a really good game. It's so vibrant, and the world looks so unique and like alive, in a sort of it's very different kind of way. Obviously, it's kind of alien looking, but I just love the look of what they're going with the art style. It looks fantastic. Really looking forward to that game. And like I say, with the backing of them having made such great games. Like SteamWorld Dig 2 is such a fantastic game. The SteamWorld Heist is awesome. Those games are phenomenal, and definitely show good signs for what the Gunk could be, even though it's their first 3D endeavor. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do in the 3D realm for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to look forward to. It's hard to know where to start. I feel like anyone who's feeling like there's no games, that is just beyond out of date, that sentiment. There is way more than enough games to get our teeth stuck into coming up. This year is going to be a flood of games, and if you can play every one of them, then you're probably a better man than me. But yeah. But yeah, I try my best to play as many as possible, but it's just there's too much time in the day, and there is so many great games coming away. It's quality as well. It's not just filler. There is an awesome lineup coming, but at the risk of repeating myself, I'll just say I'm damn well looking forward to. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the big games too, like I say, the Forzas, Halo Infinite. Obviously, I'm looking forward to that. I would love to see them, come back real strong and confident after their, sort of like maybe half-hearted sort of or like tentative sort of showing last time, and they went back to the drawing board. Hopefully this time they'll come back with a confidence and saying, this is the bomb, you're gonna love it. We've gone back to the drawing board, we've come back strong, here it is. Not be like, we will listen to you, we'll do what you think. They've got to be confident in their vision at the end of the day. So hopefully they will have addressed things, but also they come back confident to deliver that, to show to everyone who's going to be playing it. I'm looking forward to that too. I'm looking forward to everything that they have to offer. I'm gonna be ready to soak it all up, and I'm sure everyone else is too. So yeah, that is essentially what I feel about what's coming. Soak it up, baby.
Yeah, and it's funny because what's interesting is the justification of new console purchases with this list alone is worth its weight in gold. And on top of the confirmation from Phil Spencer during the end of year interview that we talked about yesterday on the Xbox Factor podcast, if you missed it, it's up on YouTube. Download it, and I'm going to be putting all 3 shows this week onto the RSS feed, so your favorite podcast service will have it by this afternoon. He talked about how they're pushing the envelope on getting these consoles made, and they're doing everything in their power to get gamers to get in the hands of gamers Series X and Series S consoles. So that's going to be a big push, and obviously, again, there's going to be a lot to play on. If you've already purchased, you were lucky enough to find one, and you have Xbox Game Pass, all you have to do is look at this template. And mind you, this is what we know. Phil Spencer, and again, I want to reiterate, said that there are a few exclusives or surprises. And I believe they're either second party or first party content coming out this year that we didn't know about, that the public doesn't know about. And I cannot wait. The last super chat just came in from Alexander Dark 91. Thanks for being here, Alexander. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Hi, Boom. Have you heard the rumor about Xbox buying talking to Tecmo for an acquisition?" Yes, as a matter of fact, we did hear about that yesterday. I am looking for some clarification from a source of mine that hasn't answered me back yet. The reason I didn't bring it up today is because I need that clarification to move forward with my story that I've already written. So if I can get that clarification over the weekend, it will be a story on Monday evening's prime time gaming. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be the lead story because that is a big time acquisition. And Tecmo and Koei bring a lot of franchises. And again, what we were just talking about in the beginning of the show, that reach into the Asian market, which is what Microsoft wants to do. That could be the Japanese developer / publisher that we've been hearing about since the middle of 2020. Another super chat came in from another generous friend of the show. Reggie Mobile 9 drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Great show, Boom, and all-star panel." Well, thanks, dude, for being here, and thank you for your generosity. But let's get into the outros, and we're going to start with King David. Now, King David, you obviously are a man on a mission. You're always busy. I don't know how you have time for family and games, but you often, because you got, King of Statues, which, by the way, he just displayed an outstanding and incredibly expensive Hulk piece, which is right there on the shelf. He also has, lordsofgaming.net that he is a part of. That is a fantastic website that you should support. He's also the biggest voice on the Iron Lords podcast on Sunday afternoons at 11 a.m. until is it 1?
Football.
So now you're back to 1.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you're back to 1.
Yeah.
I was going to say 11 a.m. during football, but football's into the playoffs. And also, you're on a statue podcast, which you're going to be doing a major unboxing with. Tell everyone about where they could reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, check out some of your outstanding work on YouTube.
You can check me out tonight on Dolph Castle X. That's DCX tonight at 9 p.m. Where I sit down with a bunch of nerd geeks like myself, and we talk statues, comic books, entertainment, anything that is in our nerd culture. We are geekified and we love it. So definitely check us out. And it's an adult show, so it gets a little red in that room, or a little blue in that room. Definitely check me out on Iron Lords podcast. Like Boom said, 1 p.m. Sundays. You definitely want to tune in this Sunday because we're going to have a very special guest. So check that out. Now, King of the Statues just went up this morning, and I'm doing another King of the Statues for my boy Anubis right over here. I will explain who he is because there's a misinterpretation on exactly who he is. A lot of people will say that's the god of death, and I will go into that on the next KOS. The KOS will be shot today. As you can see, the camera's right there ready to roll. So I was doing some video editing right now. Also, you can catch me on Twitter. That's King David OTW. Check me out there. And also on Xbox Live, King David OTW. Right now, I still haven't been activating my PlayStation account because I don't really care that much until I get a whole bunch of games to play over there. But that's Xbox 360 Lover 01. And I'm not trolling you. You will see me over there. That is 100% the truth. I think that's why Sony has locked me out of my account. But it's been fantastic, you guys. Noof, Indy, Elusive, Boom. This has been a great way to start off a Friday, start off a weekend. The weekends are the best, and Breakfast with Boom is fantastic. A great way to start your weekend, guys.
Definitely appreciate you being a part of it. And yes, being the first one of the year, this was a mega show with mega talent, and I'm glad that you were a part of it. Noof Nukem, let's go to you, brother. You obviously have been making the rounds on social media, of course, being the Noof that we all know and love. You have a show on Tuesday each and every week with an incredible panel called Gaming After Dark. Why don't you tell everyone about where they can check out that show, but more importantly, reach out to you for a conversation on social media?
Sure, but before Noof goes on toot his own horn, I want to get out of here because I'm going to kick him out of the chair and I'm going to smack him upside the face with a 14-day trial for Game Pass. But before I do that, I had to allow this to chat because they've been talking to me there, and they wanted to hear me say one of my classic lines. So here it is. Okay, here it comes from, one of the best movies I've ever done, which is Predator. You guys know this one. Brace yourself. Here it goes. Go! Get on the job on! I wanted to hear that one, okay? So that's good. Anyway, I'm out of here. Noof, you can toot your own horn. All right, thanks, Arnold. All right, man. Well, you guys know to find me always in the gutter, but excited to let you guys know that Gaming After Dark will be back this Tuesday at 10 Eastern with the usual cast of characters, Titan Drago, and the middle-aged game guy. We're excited to bring it back in the new year, and I think we got some cool stuff upcoming for that podcast. Outside of that, it's just, find me online, find me gaming, make it this weekend as well. Make sure you're following Mr. Tushy online because we're planning to do another community game night. I think it starts off, I think it's like
3 UK time, because he does his. It often carries over then and goes into mine. We often do different games, but I think this weekend he's firing it up, and he will be doing Gears 5 and Wreckfest. So that's a heads up. If you want to play, make sure you got those games installed and they're updated, because it's always annoying when people show up in the party and you got to play a game, go, oh yeah, I don't have the install, or I don't have the update. And if it's Call of Duty we're talking about, well, you guys need to know you need to update Call of Duty more than you change your underwear. So, so there you go. But that's it for me, guys. It's been a phenomenal podcast today. Amazing chat. And this host, Mr. Boomster, you're the best at it, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
In 2021, and this panel was fire. The elusive gamer, the indie gamer, and King David, man. You have a great variety of characters in here, awesome opinions, big personality. That's how you bring in the new year. And of course, this idiot, Noof Nukem, signing out. Take care, guys.
Well, thanks, Noof. Certainly appreciate you being a part of this big show. And obviously, you're no idiot to us. You are who you are, and we love the honesty and the integrity that you bring with you on this show whenever you're on. But let's get to the next one. The elusive gamer. Obviously, we didn't talk about Mass Effect today. We do have the HD collection releasing soon. One of your favorite I would say franchises of all time. You've been doing some great work on your channel. I want to get more people over to it to check out your YouTube channel. Tell everyone about where they can reach out to the elusive gamer on social media, but more importantly, tune in for some honest commentary regarding the gaming universe for your outstanding YouTube channel.
Yeah, thanks, Boom. It's always strange doing one of the first podcasts in a new year, because it feels like I haven't podcasted in months for some reason. But today's been awesome panel here, and it's been awesome talking to everyone. And yeah, on my YouTube channel is The Elusive Gamer. I have another Xbox video going up live in about 3 hours or so.
Nice.
And it took about 8 hours to render.
Wow.
But yeah, it should be up soon. And again, it's positive Xbox stuff. And my Twitter is Jamie Man UK, where it's all, games and jokes.
Well, listen, it's great to have you a part of today's program, brother. Definitely love what you do on your channel. And I think that you people don't understand when you put out an 8-minute video or a 10-minute video. And I learned this from watching like Colt Eastwood, for instance, one of my favorite YouTubers. It is over an hour of production per minute. So if you put out a 10-minute video, it could be anywhere between 10 and 14 hours of production work to get that out there. So if you see someone's video, hit the like button, man. And if you're subbed to someone and that video comes up, even if you don't really want to watch it, let your shit play. You know what I'm saying? Because the people, and I mean, I say the people, the content creation community, like us, we're the smaller guys. We don't have 100,000 subs. We don't have 50,000 subs. But this work still goes into the craft. And I'm not saying anyone's being disrespectful, but if you really want to push your favorite content creators' work, retweet it. You see it out there, retweet it. Let others know that, yeah, this guy does good Xbox content. This guy does good Nintendo content. That gal over there, she does great PlayStation content, because it's because of you guys and gals that we can grow our channels with your help. So like I said, even if you don't really want to watch it, hit the play button and just let it go, because it's a view. And if you like, and if it's somebody you follow, hit the thumbs up button. Trust me, every time you hit the thumbs up button, you don't lose a year of your life, and it don't cost money out of your bank account. It's free. So, help out. That's all I'm going to say. But Indie Gamer, let's get to you, brother. You have not only an amazing presence in this community, because not only are you, again, honest, and you are a gamer at heart, but you represent a community that most gamers, not everyone, overlook, and that's the indie community. But while doing that, you have an incredible YouTube channel that I want to funnel some people over to. Tell everyone about where they can reach out to you on Twitter, but more importantly, subscribe and watch your content on YouTube.
Oh, thank you so much, Boom. Oh, it's always such a pleasure hanging with you, getting the invite, coming on. What a panel to hang with today. Couldn't have asked for a better group of people to chat games with, really. And we're, don't all share the same opinions. We're not disagreeing, echo chamber style, as VJ would say. It's good that we have those different opinions. Newf's not so much into the indie games, whatever. That's all good. We share different opinions, but it's all good at the end of the day because that's what makes it interesting. And I really like what you had to say on the indie games as well, Newf, by the way. It was actually really good. But yeah, I just want to say a massive thanks to everyone who's come and hung with us today. It's been a blast, always an amazing community you've put together here, Boom. Fantastic positivity, which is always a pleasure to be a part of. Like I say, everyone on the panel, you're all amazing, and it's been an honor to hang with you. You can find me on my YouTube channel, which is all indie, indie focused content. So basically, my endeavor is to find you some cool indie games to discover and play. Excuse me. We did do a Indie Games Awards at the end of last year.
Very well done.
Thank you very much, my friend. So we did like 16 categories of indie awards, and we did a voting, and Mr. Boomstick XL was part of the voting panel, actually.
Yes.
We had 23 on the panel to vote for our favorite indie games in 16 categories, which is still available to check out if you did want to. It's timestamped in the description, if it's in case you were worried about the length of the actual stream, which was quite long. But you can check out some of those winners on my channel. My channel is YouTube/The Indie Gamer. We do an indie games podcast, which is now twice a month, so it's first and third Saturday of every month, and we've got one coming up on the 16th of this month. So it's Saturday the 16th. We'll be doing the Indie Games podcast. It's 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. PST. It'll be awesome to see you. That'll be so great to see some new faces. And just feel free to pop over there and drop a subscribe if you like to stay up to date on the latest indie game goodness. And also I'm on Twitter at indie_gamer_01. If you ever want to chat indie games, I absolutely love doing that, so feel free to hit me up anytime. But thank you so much again, Boom, for having me on. It's always a blast.
Well, thank you for being here. And listen, everyone, I want to thank the near 400 that tuned in for the first Breakfast with Boom of 2021. Of course, I want to thank the very generous super chats that have come in. Folks, listen, that helps power the show. And when I say that, it allows Mrs. Boomstick and I to do big giveaways. We did $3,000 worth of giveaways in 2020. I don't know if we're going to be able to hit that this year. We will certainly see, but we will be doing giveaways throughout the season or throughout the 12 months. We love to give back, and how we do that is with channel membership, with Patreon support, and of course the super chats that come in, and we then funnel that money back into the channel by doing the big giveaways. And again, hopefully we can do some of those big giveaways towards the end of 2021. But I want to thank everyone once again for tuning in, supporting Double Barrel Gaming. And I want to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dear old dad taught me when we were kids. And I think now more than ever, the world needs this. And he used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.